Well, good afternoon, good evening. Good to see everybody trickling in wherever you are. Well, welcome to the closing keynote of day one, namely 2023. I am Megan Fromm, Namely's Education Manager, and we hope you've had an exceptional day of learning and networking. There were so many wonderful moments, I have to say, and the highlight for me was hearing from our incredible youth voices in our keynote this morning, and I have no doubt this evening's keynote will be the same. We would love to hear what your highlights were in the chat. Before we introduce the next speakers, I wanted to quickly mention three wonderful Namely resources we hope you'll take advantage of. First, our community hub. This is a new community space Namely launched this spring to provide a way for our large, diverse community to connect. As a Namely member, you have access to the hub, and we hope you'll consider posting or joining in conversations over there. Second, the Journal of Media Literacy Education, which is a peer-reviewed, open access academic journal for insightful media literacy research, reflection, and practice. And finally, our updated core principles of media literacy education. The core principles articulate Namely's position on media literacy education, and we hope the additional implications for practice highlight those distinguishing features of effective media literacy education. Our intent is really that these build greater awareness and help us to scale media literacy education in all facets of life in the United States. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Stephanie Flores-Coolish, Namely Board Vice President and Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the Social Justice Program at Loyola University, Maryland. Nice to see you, Stephanie.
Thanks a lot, Meg. I'm really thrilled to be here today and be a part of Namely 2023. Just a small part, because I had the role of conference chair for the last 2 years and co-chair. And so I totally understand how much work goes into putting this conference together. And y'all are doing a great job so far. So congrats to everybody. I'm really just having a great day, enjoying sessions that are just so invigorating. As well, I'm thrilled to be able to be here with this title of Vice President of the Board for Namely. It's just an honor to serve the board and serve the organization. And so I look forward to working with the staff, with Michelle, with Kimberly Moffitt, and all of my colleagues there to be able to enhance media literacy over the next few years. So I'm excited for this particular session because I love youth media. And so this session is entitled Youth Rising, Storytelling Partnerships for Student-Centered Media. In this conversation this evening, the Bay Area Video Coalition, their partners, and student media makers will talk about how they're serving and centering student perspectives. Again, much like this morning, hearing from the students directly is really such an important thing to do at this moment in time. We'll have a chance to hear about a special collaborative project and highlight a few student films that I had a chance to preview, and I know you're going to find them powerful and impactful. So longtime media literacy community members, BAVC's mission is to inspire social change by empowering media makers to develop and share diverse stories through art, education, and technology. So please help me welcome Paul Abweg-Igals, the San Francisco Youth Program Manager at BAVC Media. Thanks for being here, Paul. I'm going to take off stage and I'll come back for some Q&A later.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Abweg-Igals, and Stephanie, thank you for that introduction, and thank you, Namely, for having us here. As was said, I work with an organization called BAVC Media, which stands for the Bay Area Video Coalition, and I'm one of 3 organizations, or I represent one of 3 organizations that was behind this partnership that we're here to talk about. Karyavi, do you want to just introduce yourselves real quick, and then I'll...
Hello, everyone. My name is Kari Marshall. I'm the Youth Equity Ambassador at the San Francisco Department of Public Health, and I had the privilege of co-coordinating this program along with my coworker, Avi.
Hi, I'm Avi. I also work with the Community Health Equity and Promotion Branch at the San Francisco Department of Public Health, and I do community engagement and youth work there and around substance use and sexual health. So I'm really excited to be here and talk about our project.
And hopefully Joanne Parsant, the Director of Education for the California Film Institute, will be joining us shortly. But I'm going to throw up a deck right here that we'll use to just kind of frame our talk. And this is the title again, Youth Rising Storytelling Partnerships for Student-Centered Media. And I'll just give a little explanation of what the structure of our presentation will be. We're going to start by just talking a little bit about how this project came to be. And then the project involved students making films. And then we'll be showing you a few of the films that were made as a result of this partnership. And then we're going to invite on 3 of the young filmmakers who are part of this cohort to talk about that experience, and then it'll open up for Q&A at the very end. So I just want to draw attention to the keywords in the title of this, which is that it really was a storytelling project about centering youth voice, and the partnership piece was really critical too, because I think something that made this experience unique for me as an educator, and I spent 8 years in the classroom before shifting into nonprofit work. What made this really unique to me was the way it was 3 different organizations with 3 different missions and 3 different capabilities that came together to create a pretty unique experience that was not, it was different from a lot of other youth education experiences I've been a part of. And so that's what we really want to draw attention to, I think, as we give background on how it came to be. So I think at this point, I'll pass it along to Avi and Kari to talk about the genesis of this.
So, like we said, we work for the San Francisco Department of Public Health, and our mission is to protect and improve the health of people in their communities throughout all of San Francisco. Our branch, CHEP, Community Health Equity and Promotion, hosts many programs to promote active living, healthy eating, health equity, and sexual health to decrease the spread of STIs, along with street outreach to reach many people who use drugs to prevent overdoses, among many other things. And that's just a small portion of what we do. But so this was a pilot program for us, the storytelling program. It's the first time we ever did something like this. And I think the main reason we chose storytelling was because it centers youth voices. We know a lot of times certain populations have been historically ignored and silenced. So it was very important for us to center those youth voices and prioritize our recruitment from those communities. So storytelling, it activates different parts of the mind. It helps youth learn in different ways. It can help with retention, and it just, a lot of times film is very powerful, and it inspires. A lot of times we relate to the main characters in these films. So we felt that giving the youth the opportunity to make these films would just help with peer-to-peer learning and just engage them in different ways beyond the typical classroom setting. And with that, I will pass it to Avi.
Awesome. Thank you, Kari. I just want to talk a little bit about how the project came to be and why it is, like Paul said, such a unique collaborative experience. So basically here at CHEP, we wanted to do something around youth video and having youth specifically lead some sort of video project and center their lived experience around sexual health. But we were like, oh, we're the government. We don't know how best to do this. So then we found BAVC and talked to Paul, and Paul was like, how about the personal essay film style, which is basically what you will see in the videos that we decide to do. And then we are like, how do we want to best involve the youth and have set them up for success? And so we actually modeled after a California Film Academy. They have an intensive program where they do like a week-long video production intensive with the youth, and they learn how to film, basically produce, edit, and story and write the script and all that together in a week. So that's kind of what we did. But to prep them, first we did this like pre-intensive like workshops where we met once a week and we talked about sexual health from a very holistic standpoint. We wanted it to be less about just like STIs, STDs, and a chronic, any chronic diseases or that kind of thing, but more of a whole person approach to sexual health. So in the videos, you'll see themes that come up around body image and identity and how that is involved with your sexual health. And so we're just really proud of the youth of thinking really expansively around these topics. And yeah, that's basically how the program came to be. And I'll pass it on to Joanne or Paul, I'm not sure.
I think actually I talk a little bit more here about BAVC first getting involved in the project. And this is where I hope for those of you who are coming in from around the country, just know that there are organizations like BAVC in your community as well. BAVC Media, just what we do, we've been based in San Francisco since 1976. The short version of our history is we were founded by a group of artists and activists who noticed that video technology was getting more affordable and more compact in the mid-70s, and these artists thought, well, shoot, we really should make this available to everybody. Wouldn't that be great? And then years and years later, their predictions about this have been quite true. And even though we still have technology that we can carry in our pockets, BAVC Media still seeks to be a community hub to deliver additional tools in the form of training, education. So as a community hub, we provide access to technology, workshops, and more than anything, I think an engaged community of media makers, because lots of people come through BAVC for resources, for training. And so we're really a community space for filmmakers. And like I said, there are organizations like us all around the country. We also operate San Francisco Public Access Television on Channel 29. And so if you look in your community, whoever's running the government or public education government channels, or just providing media spaces, a lot of them I think function in similar capacities as us to bring these tools to people. So as a hub, Kari and Avi were able to find us, and they reached out and pitched this project. And so the way we stepped in and supported the project was just by talking to them about their vision. Like Avi had said, they were very clear about not having video background. So we were able to kind of recommend equipment for them to use, as well as a curriculum, which was this personal storytelling approach, which was an existing tested curriculum that I came through CA Film, you'll hear about in a moment. We at BAVC, I was also able to recruit from our community of teaching artists to create an instructing team that could teach the video work. And in fact, Kari and Avi also both came to us through virtually to take video training so they could support the students as well. So not only did we train them, we also had the teaching artists who were available to teach the students. And I think this is another one where organizations like us around the country develop those networks, bring up people who take classes and then become teachers and are working in the community. So that's how we provided the direct instruction, specifically on those storytelling pieces to supplement the sexual health training that the students got earlier. And then we also, because we have the facilities for video production, audio recording, and editing, that was a space that all the students, after working at the CHEP sites, were able to come to us, and we were able to work here. But what made all the work so much easier, and keep in mind, this was a week-long program. It was not a long time that BAVC was actually involved with the students. Like my instructors really were only with the students for a week. So to make that possible and run smoothly, it really required an existing curriculum. And that's where we went to California Film Institute, and I'll hand it off to Joanne to talk about the third piece of the partnership.
Thanks, Paul. And sorry for the awkward visuals. We were all on screen. Everything was great. 30 minutes of rehearsal, and then everything went haywire, and I had to switch to my phone. So not my ideal scenario, but thanks for getting things started. Just a heads up, Paul, I can't see the slide deck on my phone. So if, I'll let you know where I'm at. But so the California Film Institute, we are a nonprofit film arts organization based up in Marin County, California, which is just over the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. So within, the broader Bay Area. And we actually were sort of a unique organization, in this space, in that we focus obviously entirely on film exhibition and film curation, and we run a couple of major film festivals, most notably the Mill Valley Film Festival, which is in its 46th year this October. That's kind of the genesis of our organization, was that festival that started in 1977, and we built the organization kind of around that. We now also own a 3-screen art house, nonprofit art house theater here in Marin County in San Rafael, California, called the Christopher B. Smith Rafael Film Center, which is where I am embedded in the bowels of that theater right now. I had a really cool backdrop with lots of bold projectors behind me, but now you can't see them. So in addition to the festivals and the theater, we also have had for a very long time, for most of our history, and a commitment and mission towards education and film as education. And so through that, we've developed a lot of different programs that enable us to work with youth and enable us to work with educators and using film as a resource, both to learn about film and through film. That includes both viewing and in creating. So as Paul mentioned, we created, we've had a program for at least the last 15 years called My Place, My Story, digital storytelling workshop that's been a similar 5-day intensive where students individually made their own personal essay narrative films about their own personal experiences, anything they wanted to address. Over the years, we've had films, about everything from, immigration to anxiety to favorite sports, to pets, to some really deep issues around mental illness and family challenges, the wide gamut that really gives student youth, their voice and ability to create and make their own film. But when we switched, obviously, to online programming during the pandemic, we obviously had to figure out a way to do this program that was so completely critical to be in person. It felt like in order to create something like that had such rigor in its progress, in its process, but also such, individual attention in the creation of films. But we were able to develop this curriculum that's now, we sort of adapted more to sort of personal essay filmmaking as a general topic. And so when, and I'll be perfectly transparent. Guess who created that curriculum? That would be the wonderful Paul Egas, who also worked with CA Film, and so that's helped. But it's been so great having this, this community here in the Bay Area that supports youth and youth filmmaking and youth voice, that enabled us to really put all those pieces together. And, having Paul at BAVC now and being able to, we basically just launched that curriculum online last summer and started testing it. And when he came to us and said, we'd really like to use this curriculum for this program, it was like, this is what it was built for. This is exactly what we were excited to be able to do, to work with partners in the Bay Area to support youth that might not be, in our immediate orbit, and be able to provide curriculum that can be used anywhere. That was essentially the motivation and the goal for all of the online curriculum that we developed during the pandemic, that sort of pushed us, of course, like many people, into adapting resources that online that then made it accessible to people anywhere. It was like, the thing that we wanted to do in the long term, and then like, oh, look, we're doing it now. Now we have a way to reach students in any part of the country. And this curriculum is something that's now accessible for educators and even students, to use at any time and anywhere, that we offer now just completely as open source and free on our website. And we can, I think Paul will give a little more details on that at the end of the program. But it was really great then to be able to come to the final screening once the films were done. And these guys had done all the heavy lifting on their end of training the students and going through the production process, and then to see the final films and be able to do Q&A with those filmmakers, which you guys are going to get to do in a minute. So it's been really just super gratifying to work with everyone and make this happen.
Cool, thank you. And so I also just want to highlight, I think Barbara Harrison in the chat articulated really nicely the value of storytelling and creating inclusivity and bringing in different communities. And I think that's the perfect transition to showing some of the films that came as a result of this 5-day, well, the lead up and then the 5-day filmmaking workshop. So I think I'm going to change my screen share settings so it's optimized for video. And so we're going to watch 3 films, and I'll just play them in a row. And then 2 of the films, the filmmakers will be here. I'll start with the one that the filmmakers unfortunately could not make it. And that's this one. And then they all come in at right around 3 minutes. So change my share settings. Share sound, optimize for video clip.
I see the body structure, the face of an African American person in San Francisco. This person's life expectancy is low. On average, African American men were expected to live for under 72 years, in comparison to Asian men at 84 years, Hispanic men at 78 years, white men at 76 years. Black women live longer at 79 years but still fall behind white women. I see the food deserts, the neighborhoods of liquor stores. There is no Whole Foods, no Safeway, no healthy supermarket in sight.
We all know someone in our families with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and even cancer. I see the different shades of Black people, the different color of eyes, brown eyes, green eyes, different hands, some bigger and some smaller. I see the bus, the African Americans forced to take public transportation in the middle of a pandemic, forced to work low-income jobs where they are exposed daily to COVID-19 and other viruses.
Despite making up smaller portions of America's population, Black and brown folks were disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Constant exposure in the workplace and on public transit surely has something to do with this, along with the pre-existing factors such as diabetes, which we mentioned earlier. On one block, I see a nice building, and just one block away, I see homelessness and people living on the street. The drugs on the ground where kids walk past, the substance abuse, and all these abandoned buildings and empty apartments. The tales of two cities.
Author Frederick Douglass once said, "You are not judged by the height you have risen, but from the depth you have climbed." Our people have climbed great depths and reached great heights, but we still have ways to go. I am confident we will get there one day.
For more information on youth sexual health and well-being, please visit sf.gov/youth.
I'm going to switch over to This is Fitting In by Muhammad, who will be joining today.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Once upon a time, I lived in Pakistan, Karachi, bustling city of lights, where the people were sweet, a melting pot of traditions, and every day I gathered with people of all backgrounds, lived a beautiful life, had fun with my friends all day long. But I didn't know what it meant to be of any sexual orientation other than heterosexual. Until one day, my family and I moved here to the US for a better future, leaving behind our home, our extended family, and everything we knew was not easy, but we were excited about the new opportunities that awaited us. However, the initial transition was tough. The language, the culture, and the way of life were very different from what I was used to back home. I remember feeling like an outsider in my own skin, but because of that, I got exposed to different religions and sexual identities. Even though I didn't know anything about LGBTQ plus people, when I came here, I gained a deeper understanding of everything as life went through, and from that, I had to situate my beliefs alongside what I learned. I respect all people's rights, but it doesn't mean I have compromised my faith and agreed to something that Islam doesn't allow. To me, respecting everyone's rights means that everyone should be free of violence and discrimination and treated equally, not just heterosexual and cisgender people. I hope in the future we all share equal values of respect, even if we have different religious beliefs.
And this is the same credit roll, so I'll skip that. So our last one is I Look Fine, Just Fine, and two of the three filmmakers for this one will be joining us today.
Am I pretty? Well, I think I am. I'm not super pretty like those models in advertisements, but I think I'm pretty. I'm pretty. I'm pretty, right? My mom tells me I'm not skinny enough and I'm too tan, but I think I look fine. She tells me I'm ugly. She wants me to have glass skin and a smaller chest like Ju Yingyi. She says my thighs are too big and I have arm flaps, but I think I look fine. My friends, they tell me I'm too flat and pale. They say I don't have any attributes close to an American beauty standard, but truth be told, I've never cared much for them. At least, I don't think I care much for them. I mean, I'm constantly reminded of it. I'm always told something about my body, but it doesn't matter. I've never wanted big curves or plump lips. I think I looked fine. Just fine. Wow. She's pretty. Ju Yingyi. She's so slender. Her skin is perfect. Smooth and pale. Her collarbone is so defined and her face is flawless. I think I'm pretty. I'm pretty, right?
Okay, I think with that, I'm gonna step aside here. I will say there are additional films that we could provide the link if you want to see the other films made in this cohort, but I'm going to step away at this point.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandy and I took part in the film called I Look Fine, Just Fine. And I will be leading the Q&A portion today and hopefully give you, the audience, some insight on our films which you just saw. Before we get started, I would like to pass it on to Lisa and Mohammed to introduce themselves and then we'll get started with the Q&A.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I also worked on the same film that Sandy worked on, and I'm passed over to Mohammed to introduce himself.
Hello, my name's Mohammed, and I worked on the film Fitting In.
Let's get started then. So why did you choose the film topic and that you chose for your personal short film?
I think I chose my topic because I could relate to the topic. So basically it was about my religion and my past experience with my religion. So I think I chose it because I could like relate a lot. And from a past experience, I think it was just perfect for me to like say something about it because I was like, I wanted to say it from a long time and I wanted to like share it with other people, but I didn't have any way of doing that. So this internship was it was great. Like it was a great chance for me to like show it to other people. So I think that's why.
Similar to Muhammad, mine was also because of my past experiences. More specifically, mine was with my parents and just how beauty standards were portrayed in Asian and American media, and that and how that can basically affect someone's sexual health and also their confidence. And I wanted to share that experience to the world and have people connect with this event that could happen to them.
Thanks for sharing, Lisa Muhammad. What was your biggest takeaway from this program?
I think the biggest takeaway from the program for me was that I really like I learned a lot of things from everyone's films, like great films that everybody has made. Um like I think the most important thing would be like their experience that everybody showed in their videos or films that they made. I think yeah, that's
From this program, for me, it was the lessons that we were taught. One specifically was, I believe it was our second week in the program, where we learned about the different STIs, the myths, and debunk them basically. And most importantly, what I took away the most was how to stay protected when having intercourse with different partners or a partner.
How did the process of creating short personal films help you express yourself and your ideas and beliefs?
I think it helps like showing what you want to show or what you want to make like other people experience. I think short films like are like really best in like doing that. I think from like short films you can share like your experience, what you want like other people to know about you, or like anything what you want them to like feel, I guess.
For me, I'm a filmmaker and a storyteller, and with my beliefs and ideas, I like to visualize them through symbolism and also just storytelling, how you saw it in the film me and Sandy worked on, how there's a little story at the very end. And that's how I want to express my beliefs and also my thoughts.
I really agree with what Muhammad said, just that we were able to see what you experienced through your lens, and the film really gave us a chance to see that. What did you learn from your group mates during this program?
Specifically, I would like to point out um I think um I think I would like to point out about like their experience, I guess, because that's the most important thing I've been wanting to know about other people, how like I specifically want to point out like about people's like religion or like their culture. So I think I've been wanting to like know that about other people. So I think yeah, that
Similar to Muhammad, what I've learned about everyone was basically their own beliefs and their own perspectives on the world. Our group was very diverse with everyone in it, and everyone had their own stories, had their own experiences based on how they look, how they feel, and how they perceive the world. And being able to just learn how they see it in the small talks we did was an amazing opportunity to learn more about different people and also to kind of see how different people see the world and how it differs from yours.
Thank you for sharing. And how did this program differ from the other programs that you've done before?
I think this program was like a little different from the other programs that like I think personally I've done before, because the topics that I like we covered in this program was like way broader than the topics that we covered like in like a typical program, like because like I think sex, STIs and all those things are like are really like taboo for like some people to talk about. So I think that's what makes our program different than the others.
I've done a lot of programs in the past, and this program specifically, not only does it cover bisexual health, but also identity, and it's very detailed on the information, and it educates youth, including everyone here right now. And it's also more heavy on the community bonding than it is on lecturing. So we were able to be more interactive with everyone else, and we were also able to become more closer with Kari and Avi, or I think I forgot the title, their titles, but yeah.
What Lisa just said definitely resonated with me. By the end of the program, I was wishing the program had been longer and extended. And finally, now that you've completed this program, what is something that you want to tell the audience?
I can go first on this one. This is more specifically like catered to K-12 educators. And this is more about their sex ed program when they're teaching youth about sex education and identity. I think that there could be more information similar to what we were taught in this program to be able to have the students resonate with the information to kind of see that, oh, that's me that I'm learning about, and to also stay more safe out in the big world, and definitely have more resources to help students, because it's very hard to talk to an adult, and having these open resources right there, they could figure it out themselves, and then if they're comfortable and build the confidence, they can ask for help.
Similar to what Lisa just said, I think there should be like a lot of these programs, because not everybody can like access like this type of education in like I think schools, because like there's still like a limited type of education that is like taught in school. So I think there should be like more programs like this, and like the opportunity for people to like gain information about STDs and STIs and all that.
Thank you for sharing. And I think that wraps up our Q&A section.
All right. Well, we're back now to actually continue Q&A, but of a different sort, to kind of get at some of the questions that our audience members have been asking. And actually, please do, as it's in the chat there by Justine, please do drop in more questions, but I have a few to start off with. And so maybe to anyone here, maybe the adults though, what's your advice to educators who want to illuminate student storytelling, but they may not have a BAVC or in their community?
I think I could speak to that one, but first I just want to say thank you so much, Sandy, Lisa, and Mohammed. That was awesome to hear you from backstage and get to hear you all your insights on that. That's super cool. We're all very proud of you. Yep, I would say, you know, if you want to engage your students in a project like this, one thing I'll say is that this specific curriculum around personal essay storytelling, I'm going to speak for Joanne too, because she had to step off. They're actually running a documentary production camp at CA Film right now. But this particular curriculum is actually freely available online, and Joanne was very intentional about wanting it built that way, so that way educators around the country or around the world can access it. And it's in the form of basically a self-paced course where you learn how to make a film yourself in this style, so that way you could then go on to use it with students. And I'll when I'm not talking, I'll drop the email in there and the link so you could find that stuff if you want to use something in this personal essay style. But I will say, even if you're thinking that there's not like a BAVC type media organization, I imagine there's something close, and it could be a college program or a public access station where there are, at this point in time, there's people are creating media everywhere. And so finding the closest college or community college and just tapping into those educators there, because the world of independent media organizations is quite small, especially when you get down to the regional aspects. And that's why when when you're not in it, it can be hard to crack that. But once you find the one person, anybody involved in like a community college film program is going to be tapped into that entire network and can help connect you to the right people. And that's, I think, the big, what I would encourage you to explore if you want to do something like this.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, and it's interesting. I find sometimes, independent groups, I like the idea of the colleges, because the independent nonprofits sometimes, they have their mission that they're so focused on, and they're, striving for their funding sources and stuff like that. Sometimes it makes it a little challenging to come up with such a beautiful collaboration like this turned out to be. So congrats to you all for being able to have this happen. Another question is, and the students might want to chime in for this one, how does this work get out into the world, besides YouTube, festivals, community screenings? Because obviously you had some important messages to share, and you did it in such incredibly effective ways. How do these messages best get distributed?
I can speak to that. So for me, how I found out about this program was I was actually looking for different programs to join during the spring of this year, actually. And this program was actually posted on a lot of like community markets, different places around the city. And it showed to me that the people who were running the program really made an effort to recruit from diverse backgrounds, which really inspired me to want to join and listen to the conversations that we were going to have.
So that's terrific. And I think actually maybe the question was more geared towards the actual film products. So how do the film products get a wider distribution? How can they be shared more because of, again, the effectiveness of the messaging?
I think the ones that were pointed out in the chat are big ones. I mean, they are up on YouTube. We did host a screening here at our BAVC headquarters for the filmmakers communities. And then trying to get out to things like this. We hope that you all watching this will watch the other films and consider using them in the classroom when, if you're implementing a storytelling project like this of your own. Submitting to festivals is another way to get student voices out there. And honestly, I hope that, all these filmmakers continue to go on and continue to develop their artistic voice and continue to get their message out there. That's an ongoing, lifelong practice.
And that's a perfect segue to the next question too, is how about we hear from the filmmakers individually on maybe what sort of projects they're thinking about engaging in next? Like, what stories do you have to tell? We'll start with Mohammed, maybe.
I don't have like any upcoming projects right now at the moment, but I will work on it.
Okay. How about Lisa? Do you have other ideas that are bubbling up?
I do. I'm heading off to college to major in film, and I will be taking my upper division classes like next year, actually. So I will have the chance to major, maybe double major in like screenwriting and film production. And definitely, I've had this idea for many years. It's a film project based on different intersecting identities and just how it can affect a person in the world. It's probably going to be a short film, but I'm hoping to work with my classmates on it, or if not, be like a little fun solo project with some of my friends in college.
Thank you. That sounds awesome. Congrats. How about Sandy?
For me, I want to continue to work with BAVC. I haven't told Paul yet, but there was other programs in BAVC that I'm thinking of signing up for and looking forward to do. So I want to improve my technical skills in filming and hopefully work on some other side projects.
Terrific. Awesome. And so here's a great question for Avi and Kari. What's been the impact that the San Francisco Public Health has seen as a result of the creation of these films?
Did you want me to go first, Avi? So we've experienced enormous support. Paul brought up earlier that we had a screening after the completion of the films. That screening was attended by family and friends of our youth, and also various folks in the department. The director of the Population Health Division of DPH, Miss Susan Phillips, she attended, and I think just seeing the impact of these films. Even just attending an event like this, they can see how powerful that storytelling is. And mainly our goal was to just increase that peer-to-peer exchange of knowledge. So hopefully Sandy, Muhammad, and Lisa will feel more comfortable bringing up those conversations that used to be considered taboo. Maybe we broke down a little bit of the walls of stigma about sexual health. So they feel more comfortable speaking about it with their parent or friends, specifically friends, because we know, we're trying to get after that peer-to-peer exchange of knowledge. So yeah, it's really just the message. I'm not sure about the films themselves, but we really want to make sure that the message got through to them, and I believe it did. And I'll pass it to Avi.
Yeah, thanks, Kari. I'll just build off that. I think the idea of like centering youth voices and really uplifting their experiences. Like we talk a lot about that in the department, but what does that really look like and how do we actually make that happen? And these films and this program really gave us an opportunity to showcase that and show and prove that the conversations that we have in small groups together can make an impact and can actually, lead to something greater. And now we have these amazing films to promote and share this message in a form that is very personal, very vulnerable. And so I think kind of that packaged success can help us continue to do work like this.
And also I wanted to add one more thing, Stephanie. Other branches like the Tobacco Free Project or the Cannabis Campaign, we have different branches in DPH that may use storytelling now because they see how effective our films have been. So that's another way to gauge impact. Other branches will see these films and hopefully implement it when outreaching to youth or just in general.
That's amazing. Yeah. So back to the teens again. Here's a great question for you. What advice might you give for other teens who are looking to create media about themselves and their identities, for like the risk taking that's required between, being so vulnerable and then the payoff that could potentially result like we see here? What kind of advice might you give to other teens? Lisa, could we start with you maybe?
Sure, I guess just go for it. That's what I would say, mainly because your story is very significant and you may not know there's could be a lot of people out there who have similar experiences to you and probably haven't found anyone to basically connect with, and it could be a very important starting point in creating important change, like how our films have and how our hopes to make sexual health a less taboo topic. And definitely if you need resources, there's BAVC, but there's also your local community college. That's where I rented half of my equipment when I was taking classes there.
Sandy or Mohammed? Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so as Lisa said, I think that like teens like us may have similar issues. I would like to tell them just like to be themselves, not to like worry about like anything like their parents or what friends or like what other people are gonna say like about you. Just be yourself and just like nail whatever you're doing. And as she said, just use the resources that you can access.
And for me, I think what really helped was working in a group and being able to come together and share some of your own personal experiences and see how you relate to the other people that you might want to work in a group with. So I would really encourage people who want to share their own experiences, especially very vulnerable ones, to maybe start with doing it in a group, because then you guys are all kind of coming together and sharing an experience that you think that resonates with the three of you guys or with how many people that you want to deal with.
Okay, great. It's so one big question that we want to ask all of these important youth panelists that we're having at Namely 23 this year is, what do you think that adults need to know about being a teenager today? What is it that you have the floor, you have this opportunity? What do we need to hear from you about what it's like to be a teen today? Sandy, I know you have something on your mind.
I think for me, what I want adults to know is that more than ever, I think that teenagers are very, very self-aware, especially because with all of the media that we consume, we're able to see all of the different perspectives of everyone. And with all of those different things, teenagers are becoming self-aware, and when they interact with space, it's not only them anymore, it's how they interact with other people and how other people are affected by the different actions that are going on. So more than ever, I think people were sensitive, but we're also really thoughtful as well.
That's beautiful. Thanks. Lisa or Mohammed, what do adults need to know about a teen's life today?
I think because there's like social media and they can access the web now, the teens, I'm pretty sure that like everybody knows how to like access the social media and like the web. I think it's easy for them to like get or like get to know everything that they want. So I need the adults to know that you can trust the teens of today, and you can give them access to that, because from their like access to social media and like the web, I think they can like do anything, I guess. It's like easy for them, like it makes their life easy.
I like that a lot. Lisa.
Yeah, pretty much what they both said. Social media, like not the bad side of it, but more of like what good can come out of it, like different opportunities and chances like this. But to also kind of to the adults, be a little more open-minded on current events and just how we also perceive information, and how, because the web is so big, how we gather all this information and kind of have our own perspective on different situations. And it could differ from adults who kind of saw it from one point of view. And just to basically stay open-minded and see our point and how we see different medias and events.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great wisdom for us to take away. So I want to just give any last word to Paul, Kari, or Avi as we wrap up here and hand it back over to my colleague, Meg.
I guess
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mohammed, Sandy, and Lisa, so much for joining us. And I encourage everybody to please watch the rest of the films. They're online, and there's a lot of other participants. So thank you all. And yeah, any last words from anybody else?
Yeah, just a big thanks to Namely for inviting us. It's the most impactful thing I've done in my young professional career, is working with youth, and to give them the platform, to empower them to express their voice has just it's been humbling, and just so proud of you all. So thank you.
Yep, same thing. Huge gratitude to the three of you, Sandy, Lisa, and Mohammed. And I've been to Namely before, and it's such a great organization and a great event, and it's an honor to be here. And thank you everybody out there for listening to us.
All right, take it away, Meg. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. That was just incredible. And we're so thankful for these young people for spending time with us and being here to just show how they can lead the charge. And I think all of us will leave feeling better about the world because of that. So before we wrap up today, we wanted to leave you with just some last minute, thoughts, ways you can keep connecting with our community. Of course, Namely's membership is free, but one of the best things we offer is a coordinated effort for media literacy education with our National Media Literacy Alliance. Launched in 2020, the National Media Literacy Alliance is a network of leading teacher organizations that have come together to really support the growth of media literacy across all subject areas. So we meet on a quarterly basis, and they attend, conferences, speak at each other's workshops, work as a coalition committed to ensuring all teachers have the professional development they need and deserve to teach in our media saturated environment. So if you're a member of any of these teacher organizations, your free membership with Namely helps to reinforce the important connections across these subject areas. And we would be remiss if we didn't say congratulations to those of you who won our raffle prizes. Keep checking the lobby for Namely's trivia questions. Remember to attend breakout sessions and fill out session surveys for your chance to win a mug, a bag, a hat, a tote. So far, the mug seems to be the choice for everybody. But yes, love the bag. Stop doom scrolling. I think I need that in a lot of places in my life. So finally, we can't wait to see you back here tomorrow for Namely's program. Starts a little earlier at 10 a.m. with our board member meet and greet, followed at 11 a.m. Eastern time with our morning keynote featuring the Skillman Foundation and their program on Detroit youth transforming media through content creation. We are so thankful you are here. Thank you for spending time with us, and we will see you tomorrow.